You're listening to the Reluctant Adult Podcast. If you like what you're hearing, follow us on social media and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. This is the way.
I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. There's a million.
This week from the internet, Super7 must think we're all made of money as they announce a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive redeco of their TMNT Ultimates Party Wagon. Plus, R2 Boo2. Hasbro and Disney drop new Halloween-flavored treats for Star Wars fans. And do street dates for toys even make sense in this post-1998 Godzilla world? What is your fascination with my forbidden closet of mystery? It's the Reluctant Adult Podcast.
Don't you be a dummy! Buckle your safety belt!
Think, Billy. It's morphin' time!
Ooh, welcome to another episode of the Reluctant Adult Podcast. My name is Paul, and I am joined, as always, by the man who was once nominated for Nickelodeon's Kids' Choice Award for his role as audience member at a live Double Dare Live, Bill!
Hi, everyone. That's right. I was so close. If I wasn't beat out by that ugly guy.
What?
Ugh, salute your shorts, man.
He got you? He was in the audience too?
Yeah.
I don't know what this category was. You were just pulling people from all the place. So we were on another show last night on Friday night.
We were having a heck of a time.
We were talking to Sean from the Real Life Perspective show, and he's a big Nickelodeon fan. Is there a word for Nickelodeon fans? I was like gack heads, blimp heads.
Gack heads. He had original gack.
I saw that. I know.
That?
Unopened on the package.
Unopened gack.
Yeah, it still had
nice
color.
Little tidy
I'm surprised it's not
Nickelodeon
brown.
corner.
Yeah,
right.
But is there a word like the Orange Team? Like, what do you call someone? I guess it's like, who wasn't a fan of Nickelodeon if you grew up during that?
Well, I mean,
like, we grew up in the perfect time because our fandom ended. You know, like we aged out of Nickelodeon, like right when the Trouble stuff started. You know, like
yes,
we were out before like
we
they're taking all the
there
documentaries.
when it was still wholesome. Yeah,
when it was still all like Canadian imports and puppets and stuff before you got into like Trouble stuff. Like, so it's like, okay, like we can look back at our childhoods watching Nickelodeon and feel good about it. There hasn't been any bad
we certainly
stuff.
Can.
Yeah,
of
so that's
course.
nice. Again,
I think a lot of us.
Perfect. Yeah,
we are the perfect generation. We are.
We had it great.
I think a lot of us. I think a lot with like Nickelodeon, especially for me at least, was like Nickelodeon was part of basic cable, and if you wanted Disney, you needed to get like a premium cable package. So I never had access to the Disney Channel proper. You'd have to get it off of like ABC or whatever they were running for Saturday cartoons, stuff like that. But Nickelodeon was always present, always.
And I was such a fan that I would watch Nick at Night, like the old program. Dick Van Dyke.
You thought you were growing up.
So well, that's why I'm such a wholesome person, is because I grew up with these morals, Harry Tyler Moore's morals. That's where I learned to be like an upstanding individual. But yeah, so we were talking to Sean last night from his show. Check it. You can, if you have a few hours to spare, you can go back and watch our recording. It was live on YouTube, but it stays on his channel, so you can go watch it.
It's very well produced. He had a lot of nice cuts, transitions, a lot of fun stuff going on.
It was a very professional show. He had segments. We played some games. It was very fun. I didn't know what to expect, but it was very fun. Yeah. But we talked a lot about Nickelodeon because his background had a lot of Nickelodeon stuff. Like Nickelodeon had its own aesthetic when it was making merchandise. It would just be like, basically you went to a neon colored garbage can and you put together lots of things. There's like an alarm clock, just has random bits sticking out of it that don't actually do anything, but that was the aesthetic, the Nickelodeon aesthetic.
Cartoon pop.
Sure.
It's like someone had animated it and then realized it in physical form.
It was like mid-explosion. There were just things happening everywhere. I do think that I hurt his feelings a little bit because I was talking about how stupid it looked.
Well, no, you just didn't care for his phone is all.
The phone, I always thought, well, all of it.
Phone.
There's just they made like lots of junk, and I always thought it was just ridiculous looking. Like I understood what they were going for, but I was like, who would want this? Who would proudly display these things? But he is one of those people, so I think I hurt his feelings a little bit. So I apologize, Sean. I'm sure I have plenty of things that people think are stupid. But yeah, but it got me thinking about Nickelodeon and action figures, and even though there were so many cartoons at the time, I don't feel like there were a tremendous number of good action figure lines to go along with the cartoons. Now, there was a Ren and Stimpy toy line prior to the Palisade stuff, like when Ren and Stimpy was current. There were toys, but whoever designed them just decided to make them look so off model and just bizarre looking. I don't understand the decision making process with that line.
No, yeah, they were very odd. Was it? I think it was no more than 3 sets of figures. We had
they had like
basic
the
Ren and
Space Cadets.
We had the Space Cadets, and then we had, I want to say it was them in like Lederhosen, because Lederhosen always was prominent.
Yeah, I don't even know. There was like a Ren that was like telescoping or something bizarre. Here we go. There's an eBay auction. Okay. No, they were dressed as
Ren.
Army boot camp. They were boot camp.
The boot camp episode, yes. Okay.
Yeah. So very bizarre. Okay, Stimpy was doing the telescoping, and then Ren like spun. But he doesn't look right. It's just they look, I think
he's long looking.
He's long,
he's got like
and his
a little
face,
bit more to him.
None of it is great.
Right.
None of it. And then I don't remember these. There's like Ren in a bathtub. It's like a squeeze toy though, so maybe it didn't even count. I do think the Space Cadets are the best, but even the Ren looks bizarre. They were bizarre, and the show was bizarre, so maybe it makes sense. But it always made me mad when there's not one like hero version of the toy that looks like the character. It's just it's just a missed opportunity. And then real monsters. That was a very good toy line. But the funny thing that we learned recently about that toy line is that all the secondary monsters were actually created for a different toy line that didn't pan out, and then they were just like lump them into this.
And they were, correct me if I'm wrong, weren't they like almost like very disturbing?
They were much more detailed. Yeah.
The detailed paint of them was like terrifying.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up a
no, we
picture.
got to make these for kids.
We gotta, like they dumb down the paint to make it less horrifying. Yeah.
Yes.
I can buy that. They definitely, they kind of fit. If you didn't know any better. But this is sort of like what we dealt with Real Ghostbusters, where you had these, the Universal monster characters, and then like the mailman and the football player, they're turned into ghosts, but really it was more like creatures and stuff. And like that's not nowhere in Ghostbusters, the movies or the cartoon, did ghosts work that way. So it was always weird. Like why?
And you had some, in the line itself, and it's so funny because it's like, it seems like after the initial push with like an animated show in the 80s, after they got through that core group of people and characters, it didn't matter. So, like, if I can think off the top of my head, like Silverhawks. If you got all the Silverhawks in, then all of a sudden you didn't need anything else, realistically. You could kind of, like, go on the wayside. But, like, Ghostbusters especially, you're missing characters like Sam Hain, the Boogeyman, what is it? The Boogeyman? Yeah, the Boogeyman.
Yeah, the Boogeyman, They didn't do any of the ghosts from the cartoon.
Any of the ghosts.
And they did Slimer and Stay Puft, but not based on the cartoon. These were based on like what they thought. Like they clearly designed these before the designs for the show had been finalized. They just knew there was going to be a green ghost, and they didn't even have the name yet. It was Green Ghost. It wasn't Slimer because they never called him Slimer in the movie. He's not Slimer officially in the first movie.
Right.
So just one of these weird things about toys where like not everything that is released under this banner for this line was created originally for it. Like you see, and like Transformers, my God, obviously that started as a different line over in Japan, and they like picked and chose from different lines, like what made sense. You have these characters like, what is it, Jetfire, like that's completely different line. Like they're just these. They transform, but they're completely different toys.
Well, I mean, it goes as simple as like Soundwave versus Optimus Prime right there. You have a cassette player versus a truck. And you're like, well, what?
But like Jetfire is from Revlotech. Is that what it's called?
Revoltech?
Is it I never knew how to pronounce it. I'm trying to look it up. So like this mold that this Jetfire Transformer is based on was not from whatever line most of the Transformers came from.
Okay.
But it transformed, so they were like, throw it in. It's like,
get it in there.
In the movie. Like the Gremlins too. In the movie. So it's just funny. That's just the thing with toys where, you know, sometimes different worlds play together and you just have to kind of be like, fine, whatever. That's a toy. Make up your own rules. But another one from Nickelodeon, and we've been watching this in my house a lot lately, Rugrats, because that's the first 2 seasons are on Netflix. Rugrats they were sort of dolls, I think, but they were like action figure sized. And I think they were released a little bit later in the line, but they made all the main characters. Do you have some?
Yeah, I got one.
Oh, because you found them at the yard sale.
And I found them in the Boy Scout yard sale, so.
Yeah, and they came boxed. Yeah.
They came boxed.
So they were dolls, and they were, you know, soft goods. But they were, you know.
They were.
I think that was a fine way to do those toys rather than articulate.
Oh, it was a great way to do these toys.
Yeah, I think it worked really well. Sculpts were good, head sculpts. Because the heads are
plastic.
plastic.
Put these out. Right.
Yeah, so those are nice.
And they were like in scale like Barbie. Barbie could do that. Like you could hold, you could be like, oh yeah, Barbie's the parent. So the weird mom and dad.
Sure. Yeah. And they had Chucky had soft goods hair. That's nice. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that was that, and then I'm trying to think. Obviously none of it.
I like how they did Chucky's hair in the back of this.
Yeah, it's fabric. It's like, you know,
it's fabric, but it's
it?
nowhere like near close to like what his hair looks like.
The way they styled it on the box. they gave up. They didn't have any product on hand to, like, you know, finesse it.
Right.
Oh. But you get what you get. I'm trying to think if there were any other toys. Never had Rocco. I mean, they've done like Pops and stuff now, but at the time, Rocco's Modern Life, I always wanted toys from that. I thought that would be great.
Yeah.
Some great characters.
I think Doug suffered. Well, I think Doug got lumped into this as well.
That's right. There were like something like that.
Fabric Dougs.
Yeah. They were like taller. Yeah.
Right.
And that was fine.
Which is interesting. It's very interesting. It's like Nickelodeon products skewed in like 2 different ways. It was either slime based or it was something to do with their logo, and then that was it. Yeah,
they tried to they wanted to do more with like the branding. So you like they had Gak and Floam and everything had like the Splat logo, and then like they had the blimp. They sold the blimp in different versions, like a kaleidoscope and different things. But I feel like the actual shows were almost secondary, and that may have something to do with the way that they broadcast. Like they probably didn't own the rights to these shows. They were licensed, because in the beginning, at least, a lot of the shows came from Canada. Like you can't do that on you can't say that on television, or can't do that on television. That was a Canadian import. We did get those tremendous Eureka's Castle puppets from Pizza Hut. Those have to be mentioned. Those were great. There anything else?
Palisades did Invader Zim, as well as Ren and Stimpy.
Sure, they came in
down
later,
the line,
and where it was like kids that were starting to grow up a little bit.
Right.
So like
Super7 announced that they're going to do Ultimates of Roundhouse, which is great.
Get out of here!
No, they're not.
Get the heck out of here! Roundhouse.
Wouldn't that be fun? Roundhouse.
Roundhouse was like SNL for kids, right?
Yes. Yeah.
There were, like they had like the girl dressed up as Ross Perot. They had some like reoccurring characters that we remember, but I never like thought it was great.
No, it wasn't spectacular. I thought the chair was great.
Oh, were they all like? Did that become the Snick chair? Or was
I don't know
that
if it became the Snick chair, but no, there was like a chair that was like on wheels. Like it was like
I don't remember this.
Unless I'm not thinking of All That. That's the other one, right?
Oh. Okay, so All That was a different show. Well, now
Correct.
I'm confused. Was Roundhouse a skit show like SNL?
I think Roundhouse was also similar to a skit show. Yes.
Oh, I'm confused. I do see the chair here where it's like from Roseanne, like the recliner Dan would sit in, and then was motorized? Like
it was motorized.
Around?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know. Now I need to go back and think about this.
Okay. Yeah, no, Roundhouse was like the first season of it was Roundhouse, the first season of Are You Afraid of the Dark, and then like Doug and Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah,
and that was like the Snick lineup.
It was great because Nickelodeon was like baby's first TV network because you got like you learn like Are You Afraid of the Dark was probably the scariest thing you would ever see.
Oh, sure.
Nothing else on television for kids was like that at all. So that got you ready for like real stuff, real movies. And then obviously
you said we had like Eureka's Castle, and I think it was even before like Gullah Gullah Island and everything like that. Because I was too old for Nickelodeon by the time Gullah Gullah Island came out.
Right. But we both have siblings, so like we are well aware. We are well aware of programming that went past beyond when we were actively watching.
Yeah,
I like Gullah Gullah Island because the frog, and they sold a really nice stuffed frog. I think he had like wires in him, so he was bendable.
I just remember the theme song was very catchy.
The mom and dad from that real life couple still together.
Oh, congratulations!
That just popped up on Twitter or something. Good for them.
Good for them.
I wonder if they're still touring. Yeah, I love that frog. Bring him back. Yeah. So Sean from the Real Life Perspective show was telling us that there's a great documentary called The Orange Years, I believe. It might be on HBO Max. I was like, does this get into like all the, like bad stuff? And he's like, no, this is just like a celebration of the good stuff. So like, okay.
Oh, okay.
So
great.
We want to avoid, it's perfect for us because like I definitely pieced out by the time any of that troublesome things occurred.
Drake and Josh years and everything. I was like, what?
I have no idea.
I was like, I can't relate to this. What?
Yeah.
That whole documentary just like went over my head. I was like, but
I don't know who these people are. I feel bad for them, but at the same time, I don't know who you are. So check that out if you're interested in Nickelodeon, and definitely check out our appearance on the Real Life Perspective show.
Yes.
All right, Bill. So we got a couple weeks before it all goes down in San Diego. Big Comic-Con coming up, and we've seen a lot. We know a lot of what's going to be available in terms of pre-orders for exclusives. Super7 made some waves this week, and they announced a big one, and the reactions to this were very interesting. There was one tweet where somebody said, I think Super7 has gone insane. And that was, I said, gone? ? I think they've always been insane. So they announced a while ago that they were going to do an exclusive Michelangelo Ultimate, and he was dressed as a pizza chef. He had a hat, he had an apron.
We said to ourselves, well, this is underwhelming because it was just a pre-existing Michelangelo, maybe with a different head. Apron,
soft goods, apron and hat.
Yeah. And just hawking pizza slices. And we're like, great.
As it turns out, that was just one piece of the puzzle, because Super7 announced that they are making a Michelangelo's pizza themed colored party wagon using that mold from the original party wagon that they sold.
Right.
And that Party Wagon was, what, a $500 item? The original one?
I believe so.
At least?
Yes.
If not more. So I imagine that this will be at least that much, if not more.
It's quite the gamble. I mean, like you said, reaction to it was very split. Like, I don't really need this, and everyone was like, I wish I guess it fell into like three camps. It was like, I don't need it, I shouldn't need it, but I'm getting it anyway, and then I'm definitely getting it.
Oh, I did not see a lot of those second two. I saw a lot of wow, like big swing. But okay, is this a reference to anything that has ever existed? Like, did Playmates put out a different color of this?
No.
Okay,
Playmates
so
never put out
really
another
weird.
color of this.
All
they ever did was do the Channel 6 van.
Okay, so that's what I was thinking. Eventually. They at least reused the mold for that.
Like, give
this
us
is
that.
Like white and red. It's just so bizarre. I just don't understand who has the disposable income and chooses to spend it on this. Like, of all the things you could buy.
There's a whole theme, because even the reaction figures, they've got reaction figures out as well, carded on pizza slices.
Well, that's an easy one. I feel like they probably do that every year.
You think so? Okay.
I don't know. But that the reaction things, those exclusives are always so like easy. They can do whatever they want. They probably make those day of. But this is just the craziest thing. Now, have they announced how this works? Like, Michelangelo is a separate item. Like, you don't have to buy him. You don't have to buy the Party Wagon to get Michelangelo.
I know the Michelangelo comes in a pizza box. That's the.
That's fine. That's good.
That's
and then there's also glow in the dark Scumbug.
Oh yeah.
Who is not themed in any way like these other things, but still, like, the images that they released have like the border, the checker border, like the tablecloth border. Mikey's Pizza, that's the branding for this. So I don't know what they're doing. These are all exclusives, I guess. At least you can say they maybe just took back some, like for the Party Wagon, maybe they just took back some that didn't sell from the original Party Wagon.
It doesn't work like that.
I think it could. I think it very well could.
And they painted them.
Why not? Rather than having it sit. Like, $20
someone buys it and then like scrapes it
it off.
Scrapes the paint off.
And maybe. I think so. I think it could do.
That would be the end.
It's like when you get a painting from Goodwill and you start rubbing and it's like the Mona Lisa underneath. Like, wait a minute. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't know who buys this. So maybe it'll be super rare. Maybe it will be the rarest thing ever made, and you can sell it to one other guy that wants it for millions of dollars. But it's very bizarre. But again, perfect San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, because if you collect this line, you definitely don't need it. You definitely don't need it. If you were on the fence, let me tell you, you definitely don't need it. But if you want it, good for you. Let me take a picture of you getting it. I'd like to see the person that buys this.
I really worry. I worry about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle collector in the modern era, because there's so much stuff.
You worry about you think they're going into debt to try to collect everything?
I think they are, and I see a lot of people like unloading collections, being like, I'm desperate. I need to get rid of this.
Oh, wow.
And there's just more stuff coming out. Like, every day there seems to be something new coming out.
You know what would be a good business for us to start is to create like a predatory loan company that's works specifically with toy people who like overspend on collections. Like, I think that there's a market there. Like, we understand the market.
Like a toy pawn shop.
Maybe. I'm thinking more of just like the people who do like home loans, but like the percentage is way too high. like we'll help you get a loan because your credit score is like 10, but you're going to be paying like 30%. Yeah. So maybe there's something there, because then you get to be like, we're helping. Yeah. Are you though? Are you helping really? Is that what you tell yourself so you can sleep at night? Anyway, so while we're talking about Super 7, I clicked on some more photos of them. They're doing Sesame Street blind box figures. which I guess are the reaction figures. Is that what these are? They're blind box.
So they've done something. They did something similar with the Aliens line, I believe.
Okay.
Where you could get like a different colored xenomorph in a blind box.
Okay. But the
so
molds
are these just like
are
different
the reaction
colorways?
molds.
Yes.
Well, okay. Here's who's in the set: Bert and Ernie, and they don't appear to be any different. I don't have like the reaction figures to compare, but they don't appear to be any different. Then there's Oscar the Grouch. That Oscar was good because it actually goes in and out of the can. Like it has a little bit of like a lever action feature.
Okay.
But then they're doing the orange version, which was the first appearance of Oscar the Grouch on Sesame Street. He was orange originally. And then they're doing Cookie Monster, who is sculpted or is molded in transparent blue plastic, and you can see the cookies in his belly.
Oh, wow.
So that's cute. Are those the only... And those are the only... Yeah, they are. It says on the side of the box, reaction. So these are reaction figures, a different way to buy them. I don't know how much they're going to cost because the reaction figures are $20, which is ridiculous.
Right.
Ridiculous. Like, I would buy these if they were 10, 20. Get out of here. No chance.
Get out of town. Forget about it. All of them.
So I'm scanning this page to see if it has. So this says $179 for a blind box, but you have to buy the whole case. Is that what we're getting here?
Oh.
Wait, okay, you get 12 figures and you're paying $180. So $180 divided by 12 figures is $15.
90. Okay. Yeah.
Say what? Did I do the wrong way? Know. Should I do 12 divided by
You did 180 divided by what?
No, that would be 6. So it's $180 and you get 12 figures. So that comes out to $15 per figure, which is cheaper than if you get them carded. And they're blind box, so I almost feel like that is better. But then you're not sure what you're getting, and that kind of sucks. So that's an expensive blind box, $15.
God.
But again, hey, great. Trying something. The other thing, while we're talking about Sesame Street, NECA announced that they're doing Toonie versions of Sesame Street, starting with Bert and Ernie, which is like, oh, so close to this being a good thing. Because it's like he could have just done like full body puppet looking things, but no, he had to make them like a little cartoony, like the line.
It's just kind of like these don't excite me one bit because the Toonie line, limited articulation, they're just like the PVC figures that you could get in any mom and pop shop back in the day.
Oh, right. Yeah, exactly.
I feel like. And so it's just like not exciting to me.
I think it's just NECA's way of getting around licensing. Like if another company has license to do action figures in that scale, they can be like, well, we could, and they don't have to pay for the likeness rights as well. I imagine that factors into it. So it's fine if you like it. I don't think it's great. But
no, I tried to really look and see if like they textured them a little bit like a puppet, but they're all smooth. And I was like, oh, okay.
They look smooth. Yeah. Somebody's gonna do it right. Someone's gonna get the Sesame Street license and do it correctly.
Yeah.
Maybe Super7 will do Ultimates. Maybe they'll do them. But now you got Boss Fight doing Fraggles. Mm-hmm. We already have the perfect Muppets. We're so close. We just need Sesame Street, and then we can recreate Muppet Family Christmas where they all come together.
There you go.
My dream will come true. While we're talking about NECA, they've been re-releasing a lot of stuff lately, and they announced this week they're re-releasing Beetlejuice. Now, did they originally do Beetlejuice in the 6-inch scale? 7-inch scale?
Did.
Okay,
yes.
they did. I don't even remember that.
He was in. So they did. We're going back to the Suncoast video days. Remember where all you could find from like NECA and Real Toys was the Christmas Story figures, those posed, and they were in a gift set. So at one point they did do a set of Beetlejuice
cult
figures.
classics.
And then you fast forward a little bit, they had their own like competitive movie Maniacs line, but it was called Cult Classics.
Yes.
And that's where you're finding that Beetlejuice right now.
And they did both the red suit, the red tuxedo, and then the striped suit. Okay. So these are straight up re-releases, no additional articulation. Just giving fans. I don't know if those go for a lot on secondary market.
I'm not too sure. I mean, the Cult Classics line, It's not terribly old. I think it's under 15 years old.
Well, this person wants $130
well, they better get it quick.
I was gonna say, yeah. I hope that sells for you, because I don't think it's gonna. Okay, yeah. I mean, there's a loose one selling for $45. So I mean, this is good for people who don't want to pay that much. Yeah, I know you got to get the people who don't know yet. Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch the prices plummet. But I feel like Beetlejuice deserves an ultimate. Like, go back, redo it. Modern articulation.
The posture of that Beetlejuice from the Cult Classics line is so bizarre. It's like he's like creeping up against a wall.
Well, he's got his hands out.
Arms are
like,
splayed
out.
Ah. Oh, is that in the package at least? Yeah. So you have to.
Oh, yes.
But where he is, it just looks like he's just kind of like against the wall, like, oh my god, I'm hiding in the worst way possible. But
it does look weird.
It makes sense that you have to put his arms up and be like, it's showtime.
Yep. Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's almost surprised. I guess they couldn't. I was like, they couldn't package him with his arms up. It wouldn't fit. But
you're right. Beetlejuice does deserve an ultimate.
He deserves it.
The ultimate treatment.
I'm almost surprised with the new movie coming out that they're not doing anything for the new movie, and maybe they will
that we know of
down the road. Right. I feel like they should have announced it by now, but maybe that's a Comic-Con.
You don't think we'll
maybe
see
that's
it
a Comic-Con
San
review.
Diego? We'll see it at San Diego.
Maybe. There's a lot. Well, there's more to talk about, but I want to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. It's a big week for Star Wars, because this week was the penultimate episode of The Acolyte. We have the season, perhaps series finale next week. And I know the show has its detractors, its haters, people who just don't like what they're doing. They didn't like the song choice for the credits last week. That's how much people are really looking for something to complain about. But I will say I have thoroughly enjoyed the last few episodes.
I got to tell you this same thing, yeah.
We got to see a friggin' Wookiee, badass Wookiee with a lightsaber kicking ass, something we've never seen before.
Right.
So I can't be mad at that.
No.
I think the story, you can be mad at the choices they're making, but at least everything, from the character's point of view, it makes sense. I feel like if you can disagree with motivations, you can say like the want of this character to go home does not necessitate running into this coven to try to steal these girls. That's fine. But the fact that where we see him later on, 10 years later, whatever it is, that he is real messed up, and he's in a coma. He's put himself in a coma essentially.
Right.
Clearly he was a little bit disturbed. So
I'm gonna put this one out here right now, because I was thinking about it after. I do feel like that this show is the people's Star Wars at this point.
The people's Star Wars.
I feel like if you are on the fence about, like, this is a Star Wars that I'd show my wife, and she'd be like, "This is interesting. I like this.
Okay,
I like the mystery. I like the sexiness of this. I like the will they, won't they." That's what the people want to see in this day and age. I base it off of my wife's interests here, and I think that on a whole, I think they got something going here. So you're not pigeonholed into just going back to the same area of Star Wars. You can just play around with this for a little bit, play in this sandbox, see where it goes.
I think you nailed it on the head there, and I also think that is why people are mad at it, because it's not for the hardcore Star Wars fans. It is opening it up to different areas of this universe that we haven't explored before. It's like these Jedis have different feelings. Maybe they are conflicted.
And
maybe
that's
they're not
great.
all just
they're not
like
all
white
these
knights.
Stoic.
It's great.
Boring as cardboard monks that they, watching it, I was like, these guys have a lot of like issues. All throughout every single one of them. They're all complex. They're people.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
They're people. Yeah, exactly. Pick people and Wookiees.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot going on with these characters, and it's none of it relates to the Skywalkers. And I think that's different for people. They're like, well, wait a minute. Like, people were trying to compare the twins to Anakin. It's like, Anakin doesn't exist yet.
You can't.
Right. But we're finding out that they're not necessarily twins, that they are the same person.
Yes.
In fact.
The whole time you were mad for nothing.
I really, and well, like, that's the thing. Like, I really did appreciate, because, like, you go through the Phantom Menace and they say, oh, there's a vergence in the Force, and they say, well, surrounded by a person, and it's like questionable. But then they get into this show, and they're like, it doesn't just exist for a person; it can be a whole planet.
Right.
Like, the Force can create life through a whole planet, as opposed to just a person itself.
Yeah. See, there's more. Yeah. More to learn.
And I don't think they'll be able to wrap this show up, obviously, in one more episode. I think we'll get a season 2, or we'll get something as a continuation. Maybe it won't be called The Acolyte. Maybe it'll be called something else.
It'll be called The Book of Boba Fett.
Oh, there we go.
This is how he is not born yet, but somehow
The Tale of Chimera.
What a terrible name, Book of Boba Fett. I think that's what really did it in. Like, why would you call it that? The book. Was there a physical book? Did we ever find out? Was there a book?
Yeah, I don't think he ever had a book. No.
There was no book. It was dumb. Speaking of dumb and Star Wars, Hasbro's been doing these holiday-themed figures. They've done a lot of Christmas ones. Of Christmas ones.
And those are great. I love those.
Yeah. I can't believe they keep turning them out. It's like,
and I
they always
can't
have
believe
to do,
I
like,
keep
master
buying
droid characters. It's like, you don't even have, like, a Darth Vader or like, a Luke or anything. They're just, like, all the generic characters.
The troop builders,
The troop builders, yeah. So they did one set of Halloween, which I thought was cool, because it was a store, or like clone trooper, all black, and then he had skeleton bones.
Yes, he was green. Yes.
Yeah. I wish it was glow in the dark. That's my only.
That would have been ideal.
Yeah. And then they had a Wookiee. Was it Chewbacca's mold?
It was Chewbacca's mold, but with like a modified head sculpt that gave him like werewolf ears.
Okay, the head sculpt was modified. Okay.
Yes.
It was like a gray, or like a light gray.
Right.
At least the promo image. I think the actual color changed a little bit. But that's all they've done for Halloween until now. So this week they announced it's a 2-pack, correct?
It is a 2-pack.
All right. Explain to me who's in this 2-pack and what it's supposed to be.
So we get Dracula, and Dracula is represented by the Grand Inquisitor, but not the Grand Inquisitor from, like, Rebels. The Grand Inquisitor as he appears in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show.
Oh, okay.
So he's got the actors, the small head, and the big complaint with that one is that it wasn't true to the species.
Right. And
then we have Frankenstein, but he is portrayed as Cad Bane.
How is the community reacting to these?
I gotta say, I feel like there's more people who are positive on this one than there are negative.
Oh, good.
But
that's good.
But I'm not excited for this one bit, because I think the character choices are poor.
It's a little weird.
It is. Well, it's almost like they have. It's almost like a turtle wagon issue. Same issue. It's like you just have these extras around.
Yeah, these didn't
different
sell.
coat of paint. Yeah. Then you get a Minoc. You've got a Minoc, but it's supposed to be a bat.
Sure. And who's the little guy? They got little what's his face?
Oh, they have a little guy? Oh my goodness.
What's his name? He fixes 3PO in the sequels.
Oh, what the heck's that thing's name?
Right? I can't remember.
Yeah.
It's going to drive me crazy. But he's green, so I don't know.
He's green.
I don't know what he's supposed to be.
I don't know who he is. I forgot him.
Man, it's going to drive me crazy. I can't think of his name. It's like a cute little name, too. Yeah. So these are fine if you like them. And you don't
if you like them.
Where are these going to... They're on Amazon. $44.
Are they on Amazon?
Yeah.
They're not
temporarily out of stock.
What?
So
someone's excited.
The figure photography for it is fun. They have the Minoc like chasing after Cad Bane.
Oh,
he's got his hands up like, get it out of here, get it out of here. And the little guy's like, I don't know what to do. What can I do for you?
Babu Frick. Babu Frick.
That's
there
who it was. There it is.
Yes.
Very good. Now, this is back to window packaging, but when that first Halloween set came out, it was the plastic free. And the one cool thing about that was they were all wrapped in tissue paper, and the tissue paper had designs on it, like the you can see here in the background. It looked like a Jabba the Hutt ghost and skulls and spiders.
It was all,
so they worked that
holiday centric.
Yeah. Right, so that was actually nice. So they worked that design into the box a little bit. So if you missed that, reminisce about that wild time where they took the plastic out of our toys.
I'm going to wait on these. Again, I don't think they're very exciting, but like I think this is one of those ones you're safe. If you don't buy it right away, you get it for clearance outlet or Ollie's.
If you don't buy it right away, they're not going to make any more. They're not going to make it.
That's okay.
They're not going to make any more. It took them a couple of years to like figure this one out because we've had at least 1 year where there was no Halloween figures released.
Sure. I'm more excited about this year's Disney droid.
Oh yeah, tell me about this.
So, images leaked a couple days ago of what appears to be a zombie styled astromech droid. Mm-hmm. And it's around this time now that we start seeing the Halloween stuff. I think is it the Oogie Boogie's party starts up in August?
Probably,
yeah. So you start seeing all the Halloween stuff.
The fast passes for Universal's Halloween Horror Nights sold out for the whole year. So I guess you can buy tickets to all the stuff now.
Oh man, it's no fun going down there anymore.
No, absolutely not. Stay away. He's got a unique head sculpt because it's cracked. Have we seen that before? Okay. So
I mean, I've never seen that, and it would be exciting to see if he had like some kind of like brain in there.
Oh yeah, we can't see. We only have that one angle of him.
Right.
Yeah, there better be a brain in there. There better be
some kind of circuit board so he could see why Homer's robot didn't work.
And it better be like pink, like a brain. So his head, arms, or legs are green, the nice zombie green. But then his main body is like shades of pink, like it looks like meat. Which I think I actually appreciate that. I don't
and
know
the dome is gray. It's like that zombie gray.
The dome? No, it's like a green.
Oh, is it a green? Okay.
Yeah, it's the same color as the legs.
Oh, okay.
At least from this photo, it looks like that.
I'm excited for this one. I have every one of them from the past.
Are they in scale with the 4-inch figures?
Oh yeah,
like the Hasbro stuff?
they are.
Okay.
Yeah,
they are. That's good. Yeah.
So I have the whole set still in package. They're fun figures to look at.
Sure.
And I feel like creativity wise, they're always something really unique.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they do a fun job with those. Yeah.
Trying to remember what last year's was. I think it was like a BB-8 droid.
They only do one each year for Halloween.
Yeah. Look over there. Yeah, I think it was either. Oh my goodness.
Are these Droid Factory? Is that what it's branded as?
They're branded under the Droid Factory line.
Okay. Yeah, I see that.
What the heck was it? Was last year's a Dracula theme?
Yeah, I'm looking at one here. R7 FNG, like Fang.
You've like
Fang. Dracula. Yeah, it's like an
okay, then maybe it was the year before. It was the BB-8, and it was like a pumpkin. Like a jack-o'-lantern.
They have a Frankenstein one.
Frankenstein was last year. Yeah. Frankenstein
that's
was
2023. Yep. So that's BB-8.
Yes.
C1 MS T4 Monster. Yeah, fun. So these are fun.
They are
harmless fun. There was a 4-pack too. One of them was colored like a candy corn. I appreciate that. Because can you do the build a droid factory when you go to like downtown Disney and that now?
I don't think you can anymore. I think they took it away. I don't think it ever came back.
Since COVID, they took it away.
Never came back. The only thing they did bring back was the lightsaber build, but I think you have a cast member build it for you, so you just kind of point and say, I want that piece.
That sucks. See again, we don't look at what they took away from us.
I mean, I miss those days. Look what they took away from us. But I mean, I missed the day where I was asked to keep moving because I was spending too much time at the Droid Factory.
Yeah,
and they were like being as courteous as possible. And they're like, "Sir, can you move along and let the kids build a droid?
Kids, not for you, damn."
Be like, get the hell out of here! I'll tell you when I've had enough droid building.
Oh man,
we'll ask again in 5 minutes.
My wife made an R2, but she put the long legs like in the wrong spot, so it was like, or she put them down too low. I don't know why he had 2 spots where he could put the legs.
Yeah,
but they were too low, so it made it like a really tall droid. Oh, we all had a good laugh. You don't know how droids look. Ha ha ha. So that's fun. Let's see. So I created quite a stir this week in the wrestling action figure community because I went to Target and they had on the shelves the WWE Legends 23, one of the characters, Big Bubba Rogers. You probably know him better as Big Boss Man. This is the next set. It also has like Hulk Hogan playing a guitar, which is so fun.
Always a Hogan.
Well, it's the year of Hogan. I don't know. They got to get him all out before he gets canceled again. That's my theory, anyways. The set also has Rosie and Jamal from 3 Minute Warning from the Samoan heritage. These figures are street dated. You cannot buy them. If you find them, other people started finding them after me. They should not be on the shelves because the current set is still on clearance. So you can't have new figures out when the same set is currently selling for like half of
a clearance shouldn't impact a street date one bit.
I think it just sort of corresponds where it's like you don't want the same product because
is it a different SKU? Do you know?
Well, that it must be because it's ringing up street dated. But for the AEW line, there's a new set out that includes Saraya, known as Paige, back in WWE. And that set is either unrivaled or whatever they're calling it. But that whole set is on clearance at Target right now because they're trying to push out the old set that have been there for literally years and years. So I picked up that one figure from the new set, and that was the only one there from the whole set. I bought it. It rang up at $10. It was half off.
There you go.
That's the same SKU. So that's a problem.
That is a problem.
But we shared that on Instagram, and then we tagged. Well, actually, I posted it first on the Facebook group for the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast, and someone said, "Can I put that on our Instagram?" I'm like, "Yes, just tag at the Reluctant Adult Podcast." And then I put my video and I tagged them back. Did a little collaborator thing that you can do on Instagram, and it took off. Everyone commenting on that. So
very good.
We need to start collaborating with people more. I think that's the way to go. So now we have a whole bunch of new wrestling fans now following us. So
very good.
Pump out some more wrestling figure. Last week we talked about Boss Fight making Garfield action figures.
We did.
And we said they look great, which they do. Good price, $25. They announced this week they're doing a 1-to-1 Garfield statue, essentially. A non-articulated figure. But it's Garfield sitting like an actual cat would sit, on all fours, which is not how I picture Garfield ever. No. Do I think of him that way. So I'm like, so close. Not that I think I need a 1-to-1 Garfield.
I'd rather see Garfield either waking up out of his bed and looking cranky, or shoving lasagna in his face.
Sure.
Or just kind of like standing
upright
there with the slouch.
Yeah,
is the one.
I guess they wanted it to be as compact. And it was easier to make, but
I suppose
still 1-to-1, 20 inches tall, $200. Not insane.
They need to ditch Garfield and get on board with Heathcliff.
Oh my God! Did Heathcliff? So Heathcliff definitely did not rise to the popularity of Garfield. But did Heathcliff come first? I feel like he predates Garfield.
He does.
Yeah. But it's like one of those...
It's like
he's
Hydrox and
too,
Oreo.
in the past. Right. Or the Energizer Bunny was a parody of Duracell Bunny. But now people don't even know there was a Duracell Bunny.
Right.
But I feel like Heathcliff was a little too set in his time. He didn't modernize well, so he didn't make the transition. Kids weren't digging him.
Yeah, I got it.
But I knew some of the Heathcliff stuff. But comics are so funny to me, like comics from the newspaper.
Oh yeah.
I don't even know if they do they even have newspapers anymore? I don't even know how it works. But when I growing up, I really enjoyed, I thought I would be an artist and I wanted to draw comics. So I, there was certain comics I really liked, Robot Man. I always wanted to create a character. I would study the designs of these characters and, they're very simple. And, when they change perspective, the whole design of the character changes. So I was a fan of all of that stuff. But I don't know what it's like. Can you still make a living as a cartoonist? The Dilbert guys. He's still drawn Dilbert. He's insane.
Wasn't there a whole thing? Yeah.
Yeah, he's insane. I don't know.
With Dilbert?
I don't know what happened to him. He went off the
I thought he got canceled.
Well, I think he should. Not that he like did anything that people. He didn't do anything like the Nickelodeon people did. He's just like his political views are like they far to the right.
Yeah.
It just was like.
I thought it was one of those situations where it was like whatever major newspaper was still running Dilbert cartoons was like, nope, we're not putting these out anymore.
Yeah, we don't need that. Dilbert was always a strange, but also I think the, he represents business, and I think
Dilbert had his own cartoon, right?
He did on the CW or UPN,
and it was
before they merged,
and it was a longer running. It wasn't like a long running show, but it did have at least
like a half
season
hour
or two. No, I just mean in terms of okay.
Oh, like it didn't have like it wasn't like the Far Side cartoon where it had like a pilot.
Right, it was like one.
Canceled.
It wasn't like Capital Critters where they put one on and then you were like, hey, remember that Capital Critters cartoon? Burger King made toys.
They had toys at Toys R Us. Like I don't know why they thought that was going to be such a big deal.
Now, someone needs to get John Lovitz. John Adams. The thing is, I'm amazed John Lovitz. No, he wasn't. But just to bring the critic into this, I'm just amazed that John Lovitz hasn't been like, listen, let's just bring this back. Everyone's bringing stuff back. Yeah. Let's bring the critic back. It's a perfect time for the critic.
It would be perfect. Somebody referenced the critic because they were talking about getting a wedding dress, and they were saying they quoted it where I think it's his sister is getting a wedding dress, and the dressmaker is like, Can we make it in virginal white? And she's like, yes, everything except the gloves. And as a kid, you probably were like, I don't get it. But as an adult, you're like, I get it.
Hachi machi.
I get that.
Whatever.
I get jokes.
For Chase Sherman used to say.
Hachi machi.
Hachi machi.
I need to go back. Is that available anywhere?
I feel like it's on YouTube, and like you just watch the whole season on YouTube.
It's on YouTube. Maybe it's on like the Internet Archive. Like somebody was saying like
everything winds up in Tubi.
Tubi, yeah. Tubi is the savior of media. But that just made me think about going back to finding the wrestling figures on the shelf and not being able to buy them.
Yeah.
Street dates for toys. Why is this still a thing? If something's on the shelf,
right,
I should be able to buy it.
You should.
Now, I understand why street dates exist for some things, like you want to correspond with a promotion, and it just makes me think back to like 1998 when Godzilla was coming out, and the look of Godzilla was a surprise. So they didn't want the toys to leak.
Yeah,
so
but
there was a street date for that.
I feel like it was a lot easier to work with toy stores back then in terms of promotions, and there were no delays. And I mean, we're looking at what is this? That Captain America: Brave New World should have been out months ago, and it's not coming out until next year. And we've already gone through a Happy Meal rollout with them. We've already seen the Captain America outfit or whatever. Even though I think it's probably from Winter Soldier, but we've seen this stuff. We've seen the movie. We know what happens.
They went back and reshot it so that it would be different. Well, I mean,
okay.
they did do a lot of reshoots, but I think that's just because it did not test well. People are like, this is going to bomb. We got to change it.
Oh, no.
Did you see that trailer for it? I actually thought it looked fine. It was different. It wasn't like a big superhero movie. Like and Harrison Ford seemed to be very important in it.
It looked like Winter Soldier.
Well, that would be fine.
They found
that was one of the better movies.
Soldier. It was one of the better.
That would be one of the better movies. Yeah. People are being like, "Oh, how can you expect, the Falcon / Captain America to defeat Red Hulk? Like what? Like how are you going to do that?" It's like we got a whole movie to tell how we do that. Like don't worry about it. I'm sure they figured that out by now. Hopefully, but who knows? That's for the sequel. But I was watching the trailer and it just made me think of the season of The Boys, and I'm like, I think The Boys probably do superheroes better than anyone.
Yeah.
Because this week we were talking about it on the show last night. The shapeshifter, the way they made that work, it wasn't just like in Star Wars where the character's face changes. Like she had to rip off her skin to get to the next look.
Right, and it wasn't like how Morph works, where it's like like liquid, like it does liquefy. I'm like watching that scene of the shapeshifter going down the stairwell and being like, why is she ripping pieces of her shoulder off? What's going on here?
Yeah. I thought that was a very fun take on that trope of the shapeshifter, there are some things about the show where I think they've sort of pigeonholed themselves, because it's like when they were fighting and they decided not to kill
the Deep,
and they're like, we don't know how to kill him. Well, keep smashing him. Maybe that'll work.
Right.
It's like, we got to get out of here.
Face. And then it's
is
like,
he superhuman? He's just like, he can talk to fish and like, he's got those gills, ribcage
in the
gills.
comic book, all the superheroes are like more or less immortal.
Oh, really? Okay.
And so they can die, but if they come back, they have like brain trauma, and they're like not
crazy.
The same. Yeah,
that's interesting. Okay, I didn't know that.
But
clearly, they're not going by the comic exactly.
Right.
Like, there've been quite a few changes. Yeah.
At this point, though, it's like we haven't seen any big character deaths. I thought we were going to see Yumiko die this week.
Kimiko.
Kimiko. What did I call her? Yumiko? What's wrong with me?
Yumiko. I don't know what that is.
What am I watching? I don't even know what I'm watching. Damn it.
I blinked and I missed the whole backstory why she can't talk. And I was like reading a Reddit post, and I turned to my wife and I'm like, did they explain why she can't talk? And she's like, yeah, there was a whole flashback. And I was like, I missed that. Thanks for explaining it to me.
She had a tiny Deadpool leg by the end of the show, if you noticed.
I didn't see that. I just saw that she was like on crutches or something. That's funny.
Yeah, she had a tiny
we've seen
leg.
that before where everything grows back.
Right.
Yeah.
She had a tiny
That was fun
leg.
too, that he knew to save her that way. That was gross. They had to saw her leg off. Ugh.
Yeah, it just seems like each week, how do you top off the grossness? But then at the same time, it's like, when are we going to start seeing some major players die?
Sure.
And I feel like we're at that point. I mean, last year we saw Black Noir die, like the true one die.
The original,
last season, the original one, and then they bring him back, and it's a different guy.
It's a different guy, the same actor.
Same actor, different. Yeah. I thought we were definitely going to see the Deep.
He's too good. We can't lose him. He's too fun. There's too much with him.
I wasn't really impacted by the whole scene with the octopus. I feel like I feel like as a character, I feel like we should have had the octopus early in the season. And like really kind of like invested some time with the octopus as opposed to just this one episode.
I don't think we've seen the last of her.
You don't think so?
Voiced by Tilda Swinton. Sweden? How do you say her? Tilda Swinton.
People were. I mean, people were talking about the octopus's anatomy and how and they're like he really made it impossible for her to survive outside of water for a long time, because normally octopuses, if they have to plan to be out of water, and they have to suck up water. I was like, what?
Oh.
This is a TV show, guys. Come on.
It's a TV show where he's talking to an octopus. It's funny, the octopus people. My wife was reading a book about an aquarium from the perspective of an octopus.
Oh.
And it's like there's like a mystery, like someone died and the octopus saw it happen. Like it goes, but it's the author's words are the octopus speaking, and you learn about the octopus and like the anatomy and everything, because it like talks about how long it lives and like what it needs to do to get out of the water and stuff. So there's this whole swath of like readers who know a lot about octopi right now.
Interesting. That's like that book on tape that I'd been listening to when it was it was a detective story from the perspective of the dog.
Oh.
When it was a whole series from the dog's perspective.
Where there like every other line was like squirrel, stick, car.
I hope I get food.
You were talking a while ago about how your wife was reading the I don't know if it's fan fiction or it started out like that, but the characters are essentially Rey and Kylo Ren.
Yes.
But put into like real world, like modern working
like they're
world.
in like an office setting. Yes.
Yeah.
That was a while ago. I don't know where she's swayed to now with her book reading. I've stopped asking.
Well, my wife also read that series, and she let me know that they're planning to make it into a movie, which begs the question: are they going to cast Daisy Ridley and whatever his name is.
Adam Driver? That would be something. Adam Driver. Yeah.
How do you not? Or at least, how do you not cast lookalikes or something? That's the whole point of the series. The character's name is Adam. But my wife said that the characters don't act like the Star Wars character. Like, they don't act like Rey and Kylo.
No.
Which I don't know how you would do that.
Works. Yeah.
How would you even write it to make them seem like that?
Yeah.
But I just thought that was funny. It's like, if you want to be a writer, man, just write some fan fiction. Like the writer of what was it? Was the Twilight writer? She was writing
50, it was 50 Shades of Grey.
That was
based
fan fiction.
Off of Twilight.
Twilight was fan fiction too, I think.
What was Twilight fan fiction of?
I just think it was like she was just writing. She wasn't like a professional at the time, I think.
No.
You think that she was a professional? And then someone else wrote
I don't
based
think
on
she was a professional. I know that 50 Shades of Grey was Twilight fan fiction.
Okay, I just typed was Twilight and it was a fanfic. Yes, Twilight was originally a Twilight fan fiction story, originally titled Master of the Universe. What?
What?
Story was posted on a fanfiction website under the pen name Snow Queen Ice Dragon in August 2009. 50 Shades trilogy is based on this fiction. Oh, so the 50 Shades books are based on the fan fiction, which it turned into Twilight. Wow, that's a whole inception right there.
Jeez.
Look at that. So if you want to be a writer, just do some fan fiction. That seems to be the easiest way to go.
If you really want to be a writer, just have ChatGPT do it for you.
Wow. Listen. Speaking of none of that, somebody found the Jax Simpsons figures at Target and was able to purchase them, both scales, 6-inch or whatever that larger scale is, and then the tiny the box set with the family. They look fine. I don't know if I'm gonna get these. I feel like I probably just will, to see what they're like, compare them to my Super 7s.
There was a review up. I didn't get too deep into the review because they were going over the accessories, and I just kind of was like, I just really want to see what the articulation looks like on these figures.
Yeah. It looks fine. I feel like it's not overdone. They tried to balance between, design and playability.
How's the scale though? That's a thing.
They said
I have to look again. I have to watch the video.
The tweet I saw, they had them said that Bart looked a little bigger, but I almost feel like you have to do that because Super 7 made the kid so small. They didn't seem like a good value.
Yeah.
So I feel, and also I think the limbs would be too tiny to articulate.
Oh, sure.
So I'm okay if you cheat the scale, cheat the size a little bit with the kids. I think that's fine.
What's the price point on the larger ones?
I don't know. I'm trying to pull up this picture to see if there's a price tag on the shelf.
Yeah.
Probably no more than $20.
I would hope
maybe
not.
even cheaper. Let's see here. 5-inch Mr. Burns is on Amazon for $12.99. So maybe $12.99. I don't know.
That's it. That's an agreeable price point, in my opinion.
I think I'm gonna get them, at least this first set, just to see. But not the smaller ones, right?
No.
I don't feel like I need the smaller ones.
I'm not too excited
those actually
for those.
I feel like the Bart in the smaller one, and maybe it's just the angle of the photo, but I feel like the smaller Bart looks better. The Homer looks exactly the same. I mean, they're probably all 3D models that are just scaled, so they're probably the same sculpt. But I mean, it is nice. You get the whole family in one shot. You even have Snowball and Santa's little helper. Mm-hmm. And then you can get, this makes no sense, that you buy the living room playset and it comes with Homer, so you immediately have two Homers. So why would you do that?
Should have come with Grandpa Simpson. That's a much better choice.
It should have come with anything else. It could have been Homer in a different shirt, but it's so stupid that it comes with Homer.
And we finally figured out what the mechanism in the rug is. It's just like a little rotating carousel for Homer to chase Bart.
Yeah. To chase him. That's fun.
Yeah.
That's fine. Little play value. I think that's pretty cheap too. Like maybe that's $20, the play set.
Okay.
So that's good. I'm excited to see.
Looking
where
forward to the
amazing.
phone. I want to see the phone.
It's amazing. Oh, the phone. I know. I wonder if that actually gets
Show me the phone.
Moe's Tavern phone. From when we saw these to now you can buy them was so quick compared to Super 7.
Oh, yeah.
It's just wild. Like, when you're an actual toy company, you can get stuff out so quickly. Like, what the hell? In comparison, like, that's like, what's your excuse, Super 7? Like, what happened there? Not that it would have mattered, but it is what it is. Let's see. Oh, so this is actually pretty cool. So there were some like leaked photos of these new pops with turtles, and there are two sets. There's one that's like Turtles of Grayskull, Leo and Shredder, which is interesting because it's like that's like a Mattel thing, and the Mattel licensed that to Funko,
sure,
or is it like Nickelodeon created it and licensed it? But because it's I don't know. There's a lot of cross things there. It's weird
right.
It's like, could we see? I don't know. I guess we can see pops of anything. It's sort of like that's like Inception. There's like two layers of crossover there. But the one that I'm excited about are these. It's Spot from the dog from Target in a Target basket, the handheld basket. And then he's got a little turtle on his head, and they're doing all four turtles, but they're coming out in two waves, and each wave is one character and then a chase. So the first set you can order is Leonardo, and if you get the chase, you get Donatello. And then the second set is Raphael, and if you get the chase, it's Michelangelo. So it's going to be tricky, I think, to track these all down.
My kids were in a Target basket this week. So
what was that?
My kids were in a Target basket this week.
They were in it?
They had, we got back, we went to Target, and Target had like these, like the giant cardboard stand-ups.
Oh, yeah.
And then one of them was the Target basket, and they were advertising for like Target Circle Days.
Right.
But like you could walk into the basket and pose in it. So of course we had to pose in the basket.
Of course. Yeah, I wish I saw that. I would have done that. Maybe I'll check my Target tomorrow.
Look near customer service, because I went to one Target, and that's where they kind of had it, and it wasn't really like in the forefront, like it wasn't inviting. And then the other one was
Circle
just, like,
Week over now.
I want to say it's probably
Sunday.
over today. Yeah, probably go get the big. Just go to their trash tomorrow and be like, "Can I have your big basket?"
Get the trash.
And they'll be like, "No, get the hell out of here. We can't give you this.
Go
take your picture next to Spot before we take him away
They don't do like
again."
fun stuff like that anymore. Like I always think back to that Halloween. They had Domo, and they had the big flying Domo that was like a suit. And
the Target we went to had a balloon arch for Target Circle Days. They really made a big deal, and I was like,
God.
I was like, this is really a big thing, but I don't need anything. Like I don't need any toys from Target Circle Days. So
I know. Well, I did end up pre-ordering this pop of Spot and the turtle.
Good.
Because I ordered the maximum of 2, hoping to get the variants. But then it sold out. It pre-sold out. So I was going to go back and order another one, which I don't know if they let me do anyway. But it pre-sold out. So I was happy. And I actually only was able to get it because I saw a tweet from Pixel Dan. So thank you, Pixel Dan.
Wow.
Because of you.
How often are you going to hear that, Pixel Dan? Thank you.
I know. We were talking nice about him last night on the other show. So
yes.
But he'll never hear that. Let's see. Is there anything else we want to talk about? Not really. You got anything else for us this week?
I can't think of anything. I said last night on the show that the teddy bear that we found up in New Hampshire was returned safely to its do you want to tell
that story? I don't think anybody knows anything.
I don't know if we did. I mean, it's a fun little story. We were up in New Hampshire on vacation last week. We were cleaning out the kids' room, making sure personal belongings were out, packing them away. I moved the bed, and I found this very much loved stuffed animal. And like you think of like your childhood teddy bear, and how like the fur's like all matted down and dirty, and it used to be like a nice brown, but now it's just like this like off-white because it's been washed so many times and like hugged. Yeah. So there was this nice little cute sad bear, and I go to my wife. I say, "Hey, look." And, like, she makes a face, and she's like, "Oh, my gosh, that's so sad." And I'm like, "Don't worry. We're going to try to get it home." So I contacted the owner of the property. I go, "We found a teddy bear. Did anybody inquire? Or do you think anybody would have had one that we can get in touch with? Let me know." And I sent a picture of the bear, and he sends an email back almost immediately. He goes, "Well, actually, one of the occupants prior to you was looking for their daughter's bear.
Hey.
I'll let them know that you found it. I go, well, that's perfect. We brought it home with us. We're happy to mail it along. So he got the info. I grabbed it. We boxed up the bear in a nice little blanket, like a nice little swaddle. My daughter wrote a nice little story for the bear, added little gifts and stickers, and it went on its way. So it wasn't that far from us, only about an hour's drive, but we sent it in the mail, and it arrived today. So
the funniest part of that story to me, is that the owners, contacted, or the owners of the bear contacted the owners of the property.
Yeah.
And, I would hope the property owner checked or asked somebody to check, and clearly did the worst possible job because they didn't find it. And it's it wasn't hidden, really. You said it was behind, between the wall and the bed or something?
It was wedged between the baseboard heater and the bed. So whomever does
their fire.
They do their cleaning. They do have a cleaning service that comes in after you're done with the house. Mm-hmm. Yep. But clearly they didn't look hard enough.
No, jeez, wow. Well, you saved that. That kid's gonna grow up and he's gonna thank you, and maybe he'll be a billionaire and give you some money or something.
It's like my teddy bear Bobo. Bobo.
That's right. That's
we prevented
exactly
a Mr.
right.
Burns situation. Maybe we've done something positive.
Yes. There he is right there as Bobo.
Bobo!
What
were you saying? I was saying Lobo. They never should have canceled that show.
A toy for every situation.
Oh,
all right,
wonderful.
Everybody. Well, you know what we say. We don't want to grow up, but we already did. Have a great week, everybody.
Bye, everyone.